Not one Republican senator supported a bill for equal pay for equal work. So how can working people make sure the government is working for them? I'm Dometi Pongo, and this is MTV News Need to Know. This week, Senate Republicans shot down the Paycheck Fairness Act, aimed at closing the gender wage gap. It was their second filibuster of the Biden presidency, despite the legislation having majority approval. The bill would have required that employers prove that any differences in pay are because of performance and not gender. It would have also created a grant program for training women to negotiate salaries, require education on sexism in hiring, and bar employers from punishing people who share their salaries with coworkers. The bill passed in the House of Representatives this April, but it failed to meet the 60-vote threshold in the Senate to overcome the filibuster, which effectively killed its chances of success. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell claimed that Democrats were, quote, exploiting the cause of pay fairness to send a windfall to trial lawyers, saddling hospitals, schools, and small businesses with crippling new legal burdens if they fail to keep pace with woke social norms. So he opposes the bill because it would result in a landslide of lawsuits, basically admitting that this law would hold powerful corporations accountable. But let's be clear, gender and pay equality are not woke social norms. They're basic rights. And as Senator Tammy Duckworth put it, any Senate Republicans want to come out and just admit they believe our daughters deserve less pay than men for the same work? No? Well, that's what filibustering the Paycheck Fairness Act basically tells us. Republicans are excusing themselves by pointing out that pay discrimination on the basis of gender is already illegal. Senator Richard Burr asked Politico why a new bill was even needed when 3 statutes already exist. The Paycheck Fairness Act was first introduced in 1997 and has been killed by Republican lawmakers several times. It was written to strengthen existing laws addressing pay disparities, and just look at the stats to see how much we needed. During the pandemic, 3 times as many women lost their jobs than men, with Black women most vulnerable. The Labor Department reported that women made 82% of what men made in 2020, and that gap widens dramatically by race. Last year, Black and Latina women with bachelor's degrees made 65% of what white men made with the same education. This trend is bolstered by corporate policies that penalize underpaid workers for pointing out the disparities. Pay secrecy, a practice where employers can imply penalties for sharing compensation information, is technically illegal, but extremely commonplace. Employees are often punished for sharing their salaries with their peers. The Paycheck Fairness Act would have reinforced protections for workers who share their wages. This would have been a huge leap for workplace equality. A study by Harvard Business Review found that companies with salary transparency close the gender gap and promote more women workers. Senator Patty Murray, the bill's Senate sponsor, said that this bill wasn't just morally sound, it made good economic sense too. We're hearing about how women are not returning to the market right now because of a number of reasons, including that they just aren't getting paid enough to pay for childcare and the other challenges they have. So if we want our economy to grow, we need to pay women what they're worth. Trying to upend structural discrimination is frustrating. In the past 2 weeks, 2 civil rights bills, the Paycheck Fairness Act, and a voting rights bill called the For the People Act essentially died. Both pieces of legislation were overwhelmingly popular with the majority of Americans. So how did they get killed? Democrats, Joe Manchin, and Kristen Sinema have said that they will refuse to vote to get rid of the filibuster, an archaic tool that lawmakers use to block or delay Senate actions. Meanwhile, every Republican congresswoman voted against the Paycheck Fairness Act. This is a reminder to vote for the people who uphold your values and to hold your lawmakers to task when they fail. As actress and activist Patricia Arquette tweeted, "We can't take this sitting down." Republican women, your senators just voted down the Paycheck Fairness Act to ensure gender pay equality for women. Call them and yell, and then vote them all out. Your livelihood and financial security in your old age depends on it. I'm Dometi Pongo, and that's what you need to know.